Welcome to Make Your Mark podcast, where guests share their experiences, insights, and tactics to help you accelerate your business. So building, scaling, and monetizing your business is made easier. And I will be your host, Kay Suthar. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Make Your Mark podcast. I have a super amazing guest for us today. His name is Max Lambright. He is an 8-time CEO who's too old to be hired and too young to retire, now focused on mentoring and coaching CEOs and the next generation C-suite executives who are committed to creating world-class organizations, teams, and visionary leaders. Max has been there, he's done it, and he's bought the t-shirt not just for himself, but for the entire company, and has so many stories to tell about those experiences, some of which have the added benefit of being true. With over 45 years of successful executive leadership experience, Max now mentors other CEOs who are committed to building and growing world-class companies. So I want you to applaud, raise your hands, do whatever to actually welcome Max onto the show, because he has got so many golden nuggets to be telling all of us, to teach all of us with everything that he's done. So Max, please welcome to Make Your Mark podcast. So excited to have you here.
Thank you, Kay. I'm glad to be here. With that introduction, I should have you call my ex-wives and tell them all that. Maybe it would have changed everything, but that was a wonderful introduction. Thank you. Glad to be here.
No worries. Oh, my goodness. And so once I kind of read about all the things that you've done and heard from other people as well, because there's a lot of people in the podcasting industry that I've seen that you have actually been a guest on. And a lot of people have told me so many good things about you, the content, the value, it's all great stuff, right? And so before we get into the whole nitty-gritty of business, right, and delving into all your experience and knowledge, I would love for you to share with the audience today a little bit about your background and how it all began.
Okay. I am a child of the Midwest in the United States, grew up in the state of Ohio. My parents were both educators. My father was a college professor. My mom was a librarian, 2 younger brothers, and grew up in what we call farm country, very flat geography. The majority of people, my friends, their families were engaged in farming for a career. And my parents were taught, the majority of the parents, and then my friends as well. I had my mom as a school teacher for every day for 5 years, Kate.
Oh, wow.
So, my therapist 10 years later told me, no wonder you're so screwed up. You had your mom for a teacher for 5 days. So, I went on to university, a small university, a liberal arts school in Ohio, and majored in political science, public administration, and had no idea what I was going to do after I got out of college. But I got hired by a very large corporation at that time, a true global corporation, NCR, which is based in Ohio. It's no longer there, but they sold cash registers and computers. And I ended up going through their sales training program, their sales university. And that started me on a decades-long career of selling computers, the big mainframes back at the time. That's how old I am. And went through a number of different companies, and finally got an opportunity to go to a golf outing, believe it or not, a charity fundraiser golf outing. And the gentleman that I was paired with was the CEO of a small manufacturing company in city of Columbus, Ohio, which is the state capital of Ohio. And he and I got to talking, and after a few adult beverages, the stories continued to really roll. And he was looking for a director of sales. And 2 weeks later, I ended up being his director of sales. And I had no experience in small corporations. I had no experience in manufacturing. But what turned out is about 4 to 5 months later, he turned significantly ill. he had a real health setback and could no longer function in the role. And I was promoted to the CEO and position of CEO. And that was my first time in executive management. And, we got we grew the company. I was fortunate enough that was my first trip to England. I want to pronounce it correctly. It's Lewes, Lewes. Is that the city that's southeast, little town southeast of London?
Do you know what? That's a very good question.
Okay. Well,
Sure.
That's where I stayed in a hotel called Shelley's that's been around since like 1750 or something like that. Huh. And I got a great story here. You come over the jet lag, you can't sleep, whatever. They had a little pub in the hotel. There's only 17 rooms in this hotel. They have a little pub in there. So I went down to the pub, and the gentleman, it was a kid really behind the bar, serving. He was an American, a Yank. And he was so happy to talk to another Yank. So we were chatting away, and they had Bass Ale on tap and Cuban cigars. Ooh. I thought I had died and gone to heaven. Okay, I really did. So I'm sitting there enjoying my cigar and my ale, getting a little bit of a buzz off both of them because of jet lag and everything else. And my hosts came in, and they were, they had their business there in the city. I think it's near Glynde. Isn't that where the proms are? Near that area, the orchestra concerts in the summer. I'm pretty sure that's where it is. Right. And they come in and they had dinner reservations. They said, we're going to go down to Dover and have Dover sole. And I looked at them and I said, why? I said, I could eat, sole back in the States, but I can't get Cuban cigars and Bass on tap. So let's just stay here. So, I was able to build distribution networks all over the world, Europe, and we had wonderful distributors there in England, and then the rest of the Commonwealth at the time, because this was before Brexit and before COVID and all this crap that's been going on, and that started a journey of. Now it's 8 times CEO. I've been CEO of manufacturing companies, private equity bank companies, family. I've done a couple family turnarounds, steel fabrication. One of the most interesting ones is we ran the company that did all the private labeling, packaging, and distribution for honey for Sam's Clubs and Walmart all over the world. So this little building in Ohio that had no sign on it. Nobody really knew what we did there except the people that worked there. But we, the bees made the honey. We processed it, packaged it, bottled it, packaged it, and distributed it all over the world for Sam's Club and Walmart. It was a wonderful business. We ended up selling that, got it packaged, cleaned up and sold. And that was a fun experience as well. So I've done a lot of different things, learned a lot of lessons, had some successes, had some screw ups, had some funny stories. So it's been a great ride. It really has.
Wow. Now, okay. So I've got so many questions for you from just what you just said, right?
Okay.
Now, you have been an 8-time CEO, right? Of several different, very different companies to each other, right?
Yep.
So, first of all, what got you interested or what intrigued you to go to build very different companies? And is it the same to build one company that, where you did with packaging and another company that's completely different in the same way? Like, how does that work?
Well, let me share some misconceptions people have about the CEO role. First of all, a CEO is never hired to run a company. CEOs are hired to grow a company. All right. You have a senior leadership underneath you that is responsible for the day-to-day operation, the actual running of the company. Now, one of your responsibilities, of course, is to find the best and the brightest that you can to put into those roles. Right. And you manage them and they report to you, but you're not involved in the day-to-day operation of the company if you're doing your job correctly. You're out looking for new business development opportunities, looking for large customers and things like that. So the transition from sales role that I had at that first company where I became CEO into the CEO role actually made some sense because they were it was private equity backed. They're looking to grow the company and sell it. So that's the first misconception that most people have about a CEO is that they're there day to day running the company. No, you're not. you're growing the company, and you put a team in place. So, the four things that a CEO really is responsible, and there are four. The first one is the vision. You have to craft this vision, and you have to be able to communicate it. And the question I ask my clients now, because I'm working with other CEOs, and they're struggling with one of these four issues, is what do you want this company to be when it grows up? And when I ask them that, they kind of chuckle at me, and they look at me and they see that I'm not laughing. All right. And then the conversation gets really serious, because nobody's really asked them that question before, and they've never really thought about it that way. Yes, they've got business plans. Yes, they've got forecasts, but they've never thought about that beyond the end of this business year, what calendar year, whatever it is, to what they're really trying to create here, build. What is your vision for this? And that's the CEO's first responsibility. The second responsibility is to actually grow the top line and bottom line. All right. The CEO has to become what I call the CGO, the Chief Growth Officer. And I know a lot of major corporations now actually have a position as Chief Growth Officer, and they're out, doing the same thing. But when a CEO presents to the board at the quarterly meeting or the monthly update or the semi-annual review, the board's not looking to talk to the director of sales or the chief growth officer. They're looking at the CEO going, why aren't we hitting the numbers you said we're going to hit? It's all on the CEO. So the CEO is accountable and responsible for both top line and bottom line growth. All right. Third thing they are responsible for is creating the culture of what I call excellence. All right. Finding the best and the brightest. And small and medium businesses, which I focus on, are always struggling with that because they're always competing against much bigger companies. Bigger companies can offer higher salaries, better bonus packages, better benefit packages, and supposedly better opportunities for growth, personal growth, professional growth. That's not always true, but that's the perceived notion of it. And finally, the fourth thing they're responsible for is the actual leadership. And the reason that so many all businesses have employee engagement issues right now. Do you know that 63% of the employees in the United States, I know you're not in the States, but 63% of the employees in the United States right now are actively looking for a job.
Oh, okay.
That's a scary figure, isn't it? To know that you're 63% of the people you're paying every paycheck are out actually using your paycheck to go look for a new job. All right. That's not the employee's fault. That's the CEO and leadership's fault.
Oh.
Because they have not engaged those employees. And those employees need to be engaged and understand that they are involved with, committed to, and contributing to something bigger than themselves. That's what everybody wants to be part of. They don't want just a 40 or 60-hour a week job or whatever it is in France. What is it, 35 hours? They want to be involved with something bigger than themselves. And that's the CEO's role. So that was a long answer to your question. I ramble on here, Katie.
No. That was all really good stuff, because the fact that you broke it down into four main pillars as to what the role is of a CEO, like you said, not many people know that.
That's true. Yeah.
Right?
And here's the other thing that's really scary.
Yeah.
There are no CEO schools, Kay.
I know.
You learn this on the job, and that's why we started our new company. And I didn't come on here to pitch a new company, but we started a new company, Executives Chairs, to provide an online community for CEOs that is safe, and for that next generation leaders that is safe. They have to be vetted to get in, where we provide that training, those resources, that education and mentoring they need to be prepared to take that next role, to take that next step. Because the average age of a CEO worldwide, what do you think it is? Average age of a CEO.
I'm guessing somewhere in the 40s or 50s.
59.
Oh, it's closer to 60.
So there's going to be a big transition in the next 10 to 15 years of C-suite executives, current sitting ones, transitioning out, and these next generation coming up, your colleagues, your peers, generations above and below you, that are not going to be prepared for that role because there are no CEO schools. Yes, you can get an MBA that teach you a little bit about management, but it doesn't teach you how to be a leader.
So, okay,
Okay.
I got a question for you for that, right? There's never
Sure.
been a CEO school, right? Never, it never has been. Like you said, people just learn on the job,
Absolutely. There's no
right?
CEO schools. You can't get a degree in being a CEO.
Right. And so, what do you, why do you feel, or what change has come about where you feel that the younger generation now needs to be schooled on this? Why can't they just learn like everyone else did and just do it on the job?
Well, they can, but here's another fact that I'll throw out. I'm not trying to bury you with statistics,
That's
is
fine.
that depending on which study, and these are all studies by legitimate organizations, surveys globally, 30 to 70% of new CEOs will not finish their first 18 months in the role successfully.
Why is that?
One out of because they're not prepared for the role. All right. You've come from an operational role. You've been the director of manufacture. You've been the director of CFO. You've been a finance person. You've come wherever you're come from.
Mm-hmm.
And then the first thing you find out is you're not there to run the company. You're there to grow the company. So if you don't know how to do business development, if you don't know how to do sales and marketing, if you don't understand what your role is and are comfortable in that, all right, you're going to be it's a real gut punch. And I found that out. I remember the first time I did a board presentation. I did this beautiful deck. Okay. It was gorgeous. It was 70 slides. I talked about all the things we're doing in the operations, how, our percentage of on-time delivery, our quality ratings, all this good stuff. I was really I was almost as proud of that one as I was my first child. Okay. I mean, that I was just smiling, it was great. I went in and made the presentation. The board just sat there. Nobody said a word. Everybody had a blank face. After it was over, 45 minutes later, the chairman of the board pushed the presentation over to me. He had a printed out deck. He says, this is all good. What we really want to know is, how are you going to grow this company? And it was like, whoa, that right there was one of the best business lessons I've ever had delivered to me in less than an hour in my life. And that the ability to, nobody teaches you how to create a vision. Nobody teaches you how to communicate that vision, to get engagement from your team and from your investors and from your banker and from your partners. Nobody teaches you how to identify the talent and the skill you need to fill the positions, to run the business, get the best and the brightest, and then attract those people, knowing you're competing with much larger corporations. You got to sell the company. You got to sell the opportunity. You have to personalize the growth for that individual. All right. If I wanted to hire you as my director of finance, Kay, I would have to put a presentation in front of you that says, this is why you want to come to work for the executive chair, as opposed to go work for ICI or somebody like that, because you're going to have a personal impact here. You're going to grow. You're going to be challenged. You're going to have an opportunity to make money, and you're going to have an opportunity to take on additional responsibility down the road. We want to promote. We promote within. We want to promote you. All right. So you come here so you can have an impact. Well, you have to learn that on the job too, how to present that, how to package and present that kind of offering to someone that you really want to join your team. And the other thing is building something bigger than yourselves, getting that engagement from employees. That took me years to figure that out. It really did, because you get so focused on the day-to-day or the monthly reporting and the numbers and making sure you hit your quarterly projections and things like that, that you don't spend time on the vision. And McKinsey did a huge survey of about 4,400 global executives and asked them, how much time do you spend on the vision? And the answer was not enough. Okay. I mean, even executives of very large corporations find themselves, tied down to the daily, the quarterly, the monthly, quarterly, projections and making the numbers and not spending the time on the vision things. And, half of the executives that reported back don't feel that their current business model will be viable 5 years from now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at the global transportation, all right, California is already moving to all new cars in California will be electric.
Oh, the
All
same
right.
is happening in London. They've like put up
Right.
loads of electric poles and stuff on the corner of our street where people are already charging
Absolutely.
their cars.
Absolutely. Once California does it in the States, it moves east. And then, within 20 years, everybody adapts. California is always the first adopter of new things. So if you're GM, General Motors, or if you're, Samsung, or you're, Daewoo, BMW, you're moving towards the electric vehicles. It's going to take time, but 10 years from now, we're not going to see the gas-powered vehicles we see right now.
No, we're not. Like, I can already see the change in London, and it's changing really, really quick,
Yep.
to the point. I think I read or saw somewhere that it's changing so fast that we're not going to be using gas, or as we say in the UK, petrol, any longer.
Yep.
That the petrol gas signs that you see will be very valuable, right? So people are starting to collect these signs now because they know it's all going to disappear, right?
No question.
It's exciting, but it's scary at the same time because it's moving so fast.
Huge opportunity for the people who have the ability to craft that, to see beyond. All right. You talked in my introduction that we focus on visionary leaders, and we do. All right. Let me define what a visionary leader is for you here, because your audience probably hasn't been exposed to that either. There are 10,000 definitions of a leader. All right. My favorite is that a leader takes some people where they wouldn't go on their own. All right. A visionary sees opportunities that no one else sees. So a visionary leader sees those opportunities that no one else sees, and then he takes a group of people there. All right. Because some people don't want to be leaders. Some people want to be followers and contributors. God bless them. We need those in the world. But what we really need are those people, those visionary leaders who see opportunities that no one else sees, and then they move the company towards that. They take the risk. They invest the resources, they get committed to that growth. So going back to your petrol example, there are CEOs that are seeing that there is a huge opportunity for them and their companies 10 years from now. All right, in this new world, this new culture, this new, community, global community, we're really developing here.
Right.
And what's interesting in the States right now is that there is such, in the last 6 years, and we don't need to go over all the political crap, but we went back so much in the past in our, not realizing that you don't stop the global economy. You don't stop global expansion. We're so connected, all over, I would love to be around 50 years from now to see a true global currency. Because there will be.
Yes.
I won't be here for it. I'm not going to live to be 117. I know that's not going to happen, but my kids will. And I got another granddaughter coming in October, and I'm worried. I'm worried about it for her. I really am.
Okay, so tell me what worries you.
What worries me is that the change is so rapid, and the change, the pace of the inertia, the momentum is going. It's not going to be a easy change. It's inevitable, and it's for the best. I mean, I don't know how any rational adult can truly believe in their heart of hearts that there's no climate issues. There are dramatic climate issues, and we don't have 50 years to wait for divine intervention to come clean it up. And my generation has dropped the ball on that. They really have. Okay. It's my generation, the baby boomers who have their heads stuck in the sand saying, oh, it'll be fine. That's all that stuff is hokum. It's baloney. No, it's not. It's real. Okay. And my generation is leaving it to generations, after us to clean up our mess here. And I worry about my kids and I worry about my grandkids because that's not going to be an easy cleanup. And that's just one example. Okay.
Wow. No, that makes complete sense. I can understand where the executive chair has come from for the younger generation, right? It's because they're going to be the ones that I guess stuck to clean up what's been
absolutely
left, right?
Absolutely.
And so they need to be educated and trained to be prepared for when that comes.
Right. I have 4 other partners and I recruited all of them. The executive chair is my vision. Okay. Yes. I mean, I'm not patting myself on the back. It is my vision, but I recruited the 4 partners and they're all younger than me. Some of them significantly, some of them are young enough to be my kids. All right. But they're brilliant people and they are committed. All right. And the difference, committed means you dedicate your resources to the achievement or the attainment of a goal or objective. And these people are dedicating their talent, their intellect, their passion, their energy, their time to providing these resources that their peer generations really need. We work with sitting CEOs right now, but what's really fun, Kay, is when we work with the next generation of leaders. I mean, they're just so bright, they're so talented, they're so passionate, and they're so hungry for, the tools and the resources. They bring the operational knowledge, they bring the functional knowledge, but where you really see the light bulb go on over their head and their eyes, the sparkle is when you start talking to them about leadership and how they can be a leader and how they can craft a vision and communicate it. And that's when you feel this energy going back and forth. And I'm getting younger by working with them. It's wonderful. I'm actually going back in age because I get to work with so many younger people that are so talented and wonderful and passionate.
You might live to 117 then.
I don't know. Last thing I want to do is have a lot of tubes in me. I don't want to be a burden on anybody. That's not the plan. I'll tell you, not at all. And another thing is I don't want to go through another global pandemic. Okay, one of those is enough. I don't need to do that again. I don't know about you.
No, I mean, I didn't even expect it in my lifetime. I never expected it, right? And then the whole rationing. Who would have thought you'd be rationing on toilet roll? Like, right? That was insane. So I didn't even expect to see this. And no, I don't want to go through it again myself either.
So, but working with the next generation of leaders, I call them the aspiring CEOs. That's just a wonderful experience. And it is truly, it's invigorating and energizing for me as well. So.
Yeah. Wow. Oh my goodness, Max. You have already dropped so many golden nuggets, and I feel like I can speak to you forever around this because you've got so much knowledge, so much experience, and it's clear to me that you can see already what's coming, right? You're putting things in place to prevent the bad and make sure that we all keep positive and making those changes because you can see what's going to happen, right? And this is awesome, right? You're building up the community to help with that. Now, I know at this point, Max, people are thinking, oh my goodness, I need to connect with Max. I need to know what else he's doing. I want to kind of have a conversation with him. I want to be part of this. So where can they go to connect with you?
The best thing to do is just get Max at executiveschair.com. It's right up there. Now, our website has a hyphen between the S and the C. But the email doesn't. I've got to talk to my tech people about that to get that cleaned up. But if they do Max at executiveschair.com, and if they put in the message, they reach out to me that they heard about our conversation, that when I was talking to Kay, they get an hour free with me, and I'm not going to pitch them on anything. I'm not trying to sell them anything. I don't have a book or any of that. That's not what we're doing here. But and I'll start coaching because I can't help myself. All right, I'm going to coach somebody. All right. That's just the way it is. So I'd be more than happy to spend at least an hour with them and talk about where they are in their journey, because the people that are listening to your podcast are exactly the people that I get so much joy and so much fulfillment out of helping. And I have been there. I've done it. I bought the t-shirts. I've learned what not to do. I've learned some of the things to do, and I haven't had a call yet where I haven't been able to help somebody in some small way. So I'd be more than happy to offer that to your listeners. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Max. Oh my goodness, guys. All the links that Max mentioned, we will be putting it in the show notes. So make sure you go scroll down and connect with Max. Learn more. See how else he can help you. Like he said, he hasn't found somebody out there that he's not been able to help, right? So go and reach out to him. You're going to learn so much. And also it's going to help you and your business to progress. Right. Max, once again, thank you so much for coming to the show. So many golden nuggets in such a short amount of time. Thank you.
I appreciate your time and your opportunity to share with your audience. Thank you, Kay. Thank you for what you're doing.
Thanks for listening to Make Your Mark podcast at www.makeyourmarkpodcast.com. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you get this and every other episode that comes out. We have lots of great stuff coming, so make sure you hit subscribe so you don't miss it. And thank you in advance for all the reviews and comments. I appreciate it so much. And I look forward to serving you in next week's episode.